Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's going on, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for the SHW podcast. This is our wrestling. I feel like it was a game show intro.
Yes.
Anyways, I'm B-Double Brandon Benefield alongside GB Gerard Bonner and the lovely Diana Michelle. How you guys doing? I'm hyped up. We're 1 week away from a milestone event, SHW50. How are we feeling?
I'm feeling good. We got SHW50, y'all.
Woo.
50. I mean, that was country. Oh my God. 50. That was GB talk. I didn't miss
Listen, it is a great moment. 50 shows, which, given all that's happened in our world, we've seen promotions that haven't made it to 50 shows. We've seen, all kinds of things happen. Certainly in the last 4 years or so. So this is a milestone moment. The card certainly reflects that, but I hope that everybody has in mind the opportunity to really celebrate, because this is a celebratory moment. 50 episodes, shows, what have you, of SHW. This is special.
Wow.
And,
we have a whole library on IWTV, don't we?
Sure do.
Oh, yeah.
Sure do. You guys can get acclimated from episode 1, our first show, all the way up, and show 49, our last show, is there now, so you can check that out as well. And even, let me say this, for those who attend the shows, which I know is a lot of you, and thank you for doing that. The cool thing about it going on IWTV is you really get the enhanced experience of hearing our commentary and hearing the stories behind what's going on and seeing some things that you might not have seen at the show. It really does add an awful lot to the experience. So go back and check it out if you haven't done so. It's available on IWTV right now.
It's like if you buy the DVD or the Blu-ray special edition, you get to go back and listen to the director give commentary throughout the project, the movie, or the show.
Exactly.
So if you're there live and you saw it, you saw how awesome it was.
Right.
But now you get to go back and you get the bonus feature of hearing yours truly and the great Gerard Bonner lay the lyrics to the music.
And something tells me that how do I say this carefully? I get the feeling that our commentary might be a little more conducive to what you're seeing, as opposed to the commentary of the person to your right, to your left, in the front, or behind you at the show.
Maybe just a little.
Just a bit. And you guys have the backstory and the side story and what possibly could be going on. I mean, it just pays to listen to you guys talk about what's going on in SHW and wherever else you guys are talking about. I mean,
thank you.
Oh,
the Saturday of the year. Come on.
Oh, shucks.
Thank you kindly.
I mean,
well, there it is. I mean, like, I can move out of the. I mean,
I see yours too.
There
yeah,
they are, right there.
Yeah. Just saying. Anyways, we got a big show to talk about, to preview for you guys. As I mentioned, it's a huge milestone event. GB already let you know how big of a deal it is to make it to 50 shows. And honestly, if you really think about it, if we had not hit a 5-month, 6-month skid for the pandemic, we'd even be beyond 50. But still, the fact that we even powered through the pandemic, a lot of companies, not just wrestling, but any kind of company, didn't make it through the pandemic. So the fact that we were able to just speaks volumes. And the fact that we're here now, 50 shows. Now, Jake the Snake Roberts, our matchmaker, you know what? I'm just going to say matchmaker now. I have been saying our new matchmaker, but he's already one show in. He had a great show for SHW49. As we mentioned, you can check that out now on IWTV. Get all caught up on the action leading into next Friday, and that way you're ready to go and you're caught up on all the storylines and whatnot. But he's got another one in store, another great card lined up with, I believe, 8 big matches, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's going to be insane. And on top of the 8 big matches, 4 of those are actually... We're calling them qualifier matches, but kind of technically, if you saw the bracket that was posted earlier today, they're kind of sort of first round matches. If you think about it, we'll call it the qualifying round. How about that? because
I like that.
The winners of these 4 matches move on in the Jake the Snake Legacy Championship Tournament, which will also take place over the course of SHW 41, and then 51. A new champion will be crowned. What did I say? Yeah, 51.
Yes.
41, 51. You guys know what I meant.
Diane.
I get all excited here. I'm all excited. It's SHW50 coming up. But yes, it'll take place over the course of SHW51, and then a champion will be crowned at SHW52. So it's going to be awesome to keep track of this tournament for this new Legacy Championship. I cannot wait. But we got 4 of those matches coming up. In addition to that, we have 2 big championship matches. We have tag team action and another singles match on top of that. So 8 total. But let's get into it here and give you a little preview of these matches to come. Let's talk about this Ashton Starr match. Okay, we have a newcomer to SHW. His name is Alexander Moss, known as the Absolute Truth. I think he's a bit of a staple in the Carolinas, but he's making his way down to Georgia, Southern Honor Wrestling specifically. He may be new to some of the SHW faithful, but I have heard nothing but good things about this guy. And he's quite a talent. And he'll have his hands full with an SHW original in the Prince of Petty Ashton Starr. How are we feeling about this one?
What all have you heard about Mr. Moss? Really?
I think we've all kind of heard some of the same stuff, that he's the he's the word of professional wrestling.
That's his thing. So he's like preaching. He's bringing the word. We've heard of
Truth. We've heard of Ron the Truth Killings, our Truth, if you will. This guy is the Absolute Truth.
Absolute Truth. So, wow.
I'm excited to see him in action.
Yeah. I'm interested. I always say that I'm interested, but I'm interested. These new guys that are coming to SHW, there's a reason. There's a reason that they're on our card, right? I mean,
and that's a credit to Jake the Snake, our new matchmaker. I said I wasn't going to call him new anymore because he's a veteran matchmaker at this point, 1 month in, 2 months in. But yeah, it's a credit to him for bringing in some of these new talent. We saw him do it with the Kenway over the last couple months, and Jaden Newman last month. Yeah. So here we go with Alexander Moss coming in here. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm going to have to do some homework on some of these guys that Jake's bringing to us. And I mean, if you're going to get Ashton Starr, I mean, come on, Starfire. You got to bring something to the table if you're gonna take on the Ashton Starr. So I am looking forward to this match. Definitely.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you mentioned Starfire, because Alexander Moss is a part of Fire Star Pro Wrestling there in North Carolina, trained by LeBron Cozone. Now, let me tell you a little bit about LeBron Cozone. I've had the pleasure of calling several of his matches over, I guess I can say it, at Battle Slam. And LeBron Cozone is a great trainer. He's trained some guys, Jay Malachi, who spent some time on AEW. He's trained some other great women's wrestlers. Like, he has really worked with a lot of great wrestlers coming out of the Carolinas. Alexander Moss being one of them. Moss is a 4-year pro who, again, you know, what we've seen in the last couple of years with new wrestlers showing up, it's just different than folks who were 2- and 3-year pros 10 years ago. Like, they have the sauce. They've got the juice. He's 6 foot tall. He is a special talent. What I find most interesting is, for whatever reason now, everybody new who's coming into SHW wants to try their hand with Ashton Starr. We saw that last month happen, you know, with the challenge that came from Das Wunderkind, right? Hunter James, and he had a great match. So it might be safe to say that Ashton Starr has quickly become the measuring stick around here at Southern Honor. The challenge is, this isn't the Ashton Starr you studied from 2-3 years ago.
Right.
This is an Ashton Starr who is well-traveled. He has gotten his body in tip-top shape. You know, he is really working on some things on his own personal brand. You know, so I think we're actually going to get an outstanding match. Some great things are coming out of North Carolina. Historically, they already have. So I'm intrigued to see Moss live and in living color, knowing who he's trained by, knowing his pedigree. He's a champion over there at Firestar Pro. That's going to make for a very interesting night next week at SHW50.
Absolutely. And I'm trying to think back, and I didn't do my homework ahead of time, and I'm sure some of our fans that are day one fans that have been here since 2018, 2018,
wow.
October of 18 when we started. Now, you mentioned LeBron Cozone. Cozone made 1 or 2 appearances in the very early, like that first year. Yeah,
Wow.
and I want to say, and this is where somebody's going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, I don't recall if maybe he filled in for one of the Shotgun Killers, or maybe he filled in for a member of the New Era in a tag team match. There was something that happened, if I'm not mistaken, where he kind of came in, filled in as a tag team partner in one of the tag team matches in one of our earlier shows. And so, yeah, when we were seeing the research, and even when Cozones popped up at Battle Slam, I remember like, hey, I remember him from SHW back in the day. So yes, but yes, he's turned into a great He was always a great competitor in his own right. But he's become a great teacher as well at Firestar. Trainer, coach, teacher, whatever you want to call him. But let's move into the tag team division here. We saw let's just back up a second. Early on in the month, we saw that the hierarchy was going to have a match. They were going to be in action. We weren't sure who they were going to be taking on. We found out it was going to be like an open contract and who wanted to answer the challenge. And we just found out yesterday. Okay, it was announced on social media. And Diana, I think you're more familiar with these guys than I am, so if I'm saying the name incorrectly, you can correct me. But the Northside Heroes, and it's not North, it's not the North Side, it's Northside, right? Okay, the Northside Heroes. My understanding, I know they've held gold at Pro South Wrestling that I'm very familiar with. We've actually had a couple of SHW title defenses take place at that promotion. I've been able to get over there and call some action. So I know they've held some gold there. Apparently they've held some gold at some other promotions. And they're coming in here to take on Murder One and Joe Black, the hierarchy. Now, here's where I'm worried about these guys. I don't know a ton about them. But what I do know is that Joe Black and Murder One are going to be in a very foul mood after the events of last month, where they were unsuccessful in their attempt to win the SHW tag team titles. There was some chicanery in that match that went down. And Joe Black and Murder One are not happy. They haven't been happy all month. They've had a whole month to just stew on it, and I imagined, we talked about this before, whoever their opponents were going to be, it was not going to be a good night for them, right? They're just going to want to take their frustrations out on anybody and everybody. And I will give it up to the fortitude of these guys to accept this open contract. I take that as them coming in wanting to say, you know what? I want to step up to the big boys here. I want to go to SHW, make our debut, try to make a statement. Could we be in for the makings of a big upset here? Possibly, but if I'm being honest, I'm just feeling bad for these guys. Like, you know what? Good luck. Welcome to SHW. Thanks for coming. And I don't envy them whatsoever going up against the hierarchy. So what are your guys' take on this matchup?
I don't envy them at all.
Right.
At all. No, I'm not going to take anything away from the Northside Heroes. I mean, they have been around a little while, and the last couple of times that I've seen them, they've improved like tremendously. I think that it might be a shock at what they bring to the table. I don't know that. We're not familiar, right? We're not really familiar with everything that they have. I have seen a few things. I don't think that, I don't know, maybe Joe and Murder are familiar. I don't know, maybe they'll be ready. I don't know, but I do feel like it's going to be unexpected. The fight's going to be unexpected. I don't think it's going to be something like, oh, they're just going to go in there and get trashed. I do think they're going to have some fight under their belts that they're going to bring. So, I don't know the outcome of this. I don't know what to expect, but I do think it's going to be a shocker. For sure.
Shocker is an interesting term because that could mean a lot of things.
Yes.
It really could. I will say this. This is, and this is part of the reason why this podcast is so important for those who are watching, and then for those who will turn and listen to our commentary, because you get to learn things. It's very easy when you're unfamiliar with someone to completely discount them.
Yes.
Because you know what you know, right? It's kind of like the Grammys when, they have 10 artists up for Artist of the Year and you have your favorite artist in there. You could completely make a massive case for them and discount the other 9 because that's just not your cup of tea. Then when you become familiar, you go, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have written them off. So, when you're dealing with this team here, their name might be a little deceptive. Because Northside Heroes, that's cute. But these are guys who, though they've only been teaming together for a few years, they've been making it work together. They're your current Pro South Tag Team Champions, and they just won those titles like a week or so ago. So they're real fresh on that. And again, Pro South is a promotion that we've worked with, as it's been stated. And so I don't discount anything that's happening over at Pro South. We understand we're Southern Honor, right? We understand, what we represent. And we also understand that a lot of folks work in a lot of other places to work their way to our company. Given that, I also know that the track record of our matchmaker, Jake the Snake, is I'm searching through the biggest talent. I've expanded the talent pool past Georgia, per se. So now we're going to Alabama. We're going to Tennessee. We're going to North Carolina. So he's gone to Alabama to get this tag team. And this tag team has done some work. They have done some significant work. So I don't want to discount them at all. If you win tag team gold anywhere, you are significant and you should be paid attention to. I think the only problem we have is if they had caught this team 2 months ago, or even last month, it's just the fury right now that the hierarchy has after being robbed of the tag team championships in multiple ways. They were visibly upset that night. They were ready to whip the referee and whip anybody who had gotten in their way. I don't know that a month will cool them off. And I also don't know how they feel seeing that they aren't getting a rematch, next Friday. In my mind, I'd be saying we deserve a rematch. We're not getting a rematch. Somebody's in trouble. So Northside Heroes, I do think are going to bring their A game. They better bring their B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I game because they're going to need all of it against the rage, the pure rage that I'm sure these two have not let out. So it should be something. Now, with that said, if the hierarchy does not channel their rage and anger, we could see a massive upset.
Whew. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I was just going to name the guys in Northside Heroes.
I meant to do that. I'm sorry.
Jacob Cantu, I think I'm saying that right. Cantu and Shooter Gabe.
Okay.
Just so you guys know.
Gotcha. Well, what I was going to say was you mentioned we could see an upset in the making, but if it is, this could be the biggest upset, like not just of the year, but maybe of the history of SHW. If indeed these guys can come in here brand new to SHW and defeat the likes of the hierarchy, Joe Black and Murder One.
Goodness.
I mean, that would be huge for them.
It would.
But they're going to be in some kind of mood, Joe and Murder. I'm telling you. So I just do not envy Jacob Cantu and Shooter Gabe. I don't know.
No envy there.
I just don't know.
None.
This is so random, but I'm going to bring it up real quick because it's the podcast. We bring up silly stuff. Did you guys ever watch the cartoon Pinky and the Brain back in the 90s?
My favorite.
Okay.
I have a Brain shirt.
So Pinky would always
the whole collection. Sorry, go ahead.
Pinky would always, gee, Brain, what are we going to do tonight? And he'd always say stuff like,
got his voice perfect.
He'd say stuff like, zoink, noff.
Yes.
And so when I saw the name Offside Heroes, all I could think of was Pinky going, Noff. So I'm sorry, but that's all I keep thinking when I hear their name. So I apologize to them if that offends them that I think of
The
Pinky.
same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try and take over the world.
By the way, kids, if you haven't seen Pinky and the Brain, go find it on somewhere streaming. It's
and they're
great.
on Hulu. They're
Are
on
they?
Hulu.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, go watch it. Go find it.
Oh my gosh.
Pinky and the Brain, classic. Classic Animaniacs.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Anyways. Sorry, Offside Heroes, but
no, you just took me somewhere special.
I keep thinking, no.
But that's going to be on a shirt for you. You're going to have to put that right across in quotes.
Yes.
I want an Offside Hero shirt, but it has Pinky on it or something. We could do like a collab. I don't know.
That's hilarious.
Cantu, shoot a game. You hear me? Like maybe we can. I'm just spitballing ideas here. I don't know what your merch game is like. I don't know if you guys are as mercenaries like All-Star Special is or anything like that. But
who is mercenaries like All-Star Special? Honestly,
great question. Great question.
That's true. But anyways, okay. Moving on. Let's talk about these tournament matches. Okay, these tournament qualifying matches for the Jake the Snake Legacy Championship. We've got 4 big matches, 3 singles, and 1 triple threat match. Which
how did that come about? I wonder.
Jake the Snake, man, he's coming up with some. I guess he's just thinking, what would the fans want to see? Because when I saw it, I thought, I want to see that, and every fan I talk to wants to see that. So
absolutely,
I love it. Let's talk about first off the Kenway. We talked about Jake bringing in new talent to SHW. The Kenway is one of those guys. We got to see him last month. He put on quite an impressive showing, taking Chip Day, one of the most formidable stars in all of SHW. He took him to the limit, a time limit draw, 15-minute time limit draw. It'll be the Kenway taking on the returning Zach Mosley, and not just returning from injury, but also making his singles debut in SHW. He's, of course, part of Exotic Youth, excuse me. And so that's where the Kenway's got to be careful. Zach Mosley typically does not travel alone, and that could come into play there for the Kenway. Now, Zach coming off, I believe it was a back injury, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? So I have not seen, I know he's been back maybe some other places. I have not seen him in action though at SHW. Of course, he's been coming out as like managerial type role, coming out with his cane, still kind of getting involved in some of the matches, but he'll be in singles competition here against the Kenway. And this has a lot of people buzzing about this one.
Yeah, I have questions.
Oh,
is he coming along? Are the other daycare kids coming with him? I don't know. But he's stepping in the ring with the Kenway. Kenway is business. We learned that last month. He is business. Zach is good, y'all. Zach is good. I'm going to give him those props. I'm going to give him and shout out to him and the rest of the Exotic Youth for the major success in their frat house wrestling that they did.
I heard.
Which was a pretty freaking amazing. But this is going to be a pretty. I don't even know what to say about this match. I mean, you got Zach Mosley. If he's coming by himself, I really don't know what to expect. If he's not, if he's going to have the cronies with him, he's going to be the Kenway. Because
I will say this: we just talked about Murder and Joe Black.
Yeah.
And as we learned last month, he's seems to be in with those guys pretty well. So I don't know. Again, I don't know where the minds of Joe and Murder are going to be. They're going to be pretty fired up after what happened last month in that title match. I don't know where their focus is totally going to be. So even if Kenway's in trouble and it turns into a 3-on-1 situation, I don't know if he'll have backup or not, to be honest with you. Who knows?
I don't know, but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, as I look at kind of this whole tournament, this is probably the most unpredictable match, or the hardest match to predict in terms of who could be a favorite in this one. You know, the Kenway put up such a great showing at SHW 49 against Chip Day, and you've got to think that that battle isn't over. And, you know, in terms of what the potential final matches are, you know, should the Kenway make his way through, there's the possibility that we could, you know, if all the stars align, get both of them in the finals for this, which would be an amazing rematch. But he's got to go through Zach Mosley. And given, you know, we saw the Exotic Youth Skype their way in at our last show because they couldn't get access any other way. And so they have had a long-standing issue with SHW and now with Jake the Snake. And so you've got to wonder, what better way to stick it to Jake the Snake and Gary Lamb than to win this title that's in the name of Jake the Snake in Gary Lamb's company. So I think Zach Mosley has plenty of inspiration to get things done. On the flip side, the Kenway, you know, had an incredible showing, and what a great way to prove your worth than to get through this match against a veteran like Zach Mosley and make your way potentially to the championship. So this is a pick'em, and I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's gonna be good. As one Booker T might say. Moving on, though, another match in this qualifying tournament round. We've got Nick Halen, co-winner of the 2022 GWH Wrestler of the Year Award, taking on Shoot Taylor.
Yeah.
Okay, here's something to keep in mind, though. If you'll recall, and GB, of course, you'll remember this because we had the displeasure of having one Rick, was it Rick Halen? Whatever his name was, sitting next to us.
I see what you did there. Nicely
sitting
done.
next
I think
to
it was
us.
Van personally, but
Yeah, there you go. He joined us in commentary at the last show, and if you haven't seen it, again, check it out on IWTV, SHW49. There was a singles match between AC Mack and Shoot Taylor. We were joined at commentary by Nick Halen. Now, AC Mack was the other co-winner of the 2022 GWH Wrestler of the Year Award. We kind of anticipated, there was a lot of smack talk from Nick Halen about AC Mack throughout the match. He was actually kind of talking up Shoot Taylor, on the other hand, and we kind of thought, if anything, he may get involved and actually go after AC Mack. Well, the match ended, Mack won, and Nick Halen went after Shoot Taylor. And I guess to try to get the attention of Mack, or I'm not really quite sure what to make of that. There's still something going on there between Nick Halen and AC Mack. Both of them feel that they should be the sole winner, the sole Wrestler of the Year in the state of Georgia. And I kind of agree with that too. We've talked about that before. You know, I'm not a big fan of ties. I want there to be a definitive winner. But anyways, he goes after Shoot Taylor. So, you know, Shoot's got a little bit of revenge on the mind. Not only is this an opportunity to get down the tournament, to move on in the tournament for the JTS Legacy Championship, but there's that little seed in the back of his mind too. Like, this guy went after me after my match last month, and I want a piece of him now. Not only for this tournament, but just for personal reasons, you know? Right. So there's that little added element there to this match that I'm very excited about.
I have questions too. Why would Nick, Vic, Rick, Hick go after Shoot Taylor rather than AC Mack when he's obviously the one he has beef with? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, but who am I to say? Really, who am I to say? He did what he did. So, yeah, AC came to the rescue, and that's cool, but I think Shoot can handle his own business here. And I agree with you. I think he's got some revenge on the mind, and he's just going to take it to Nick, Rick, Hick, Chick, Dick, whatever. Well, whatever his name is.
Richard.
And yes. Richard. And just really, you know, do his thing. That really just flowed so easy.
I was just gonna keep on moving.
Power through.
Stop. No.
I was trying, but y'all both were killing me with that.
Anyways.
Anyways,
Well,
so go shoot.
one of the interesting things about this, and my brain is working, but I believe this is what happened. What makes this so interesting is Nick Halen and Shoot Taylor were tag team partners at the end of this DDP Invitational back
That's
at Still Here 4. And so I'm really not sure why all of a sudden Nick Halen turns on Shoot Taylor. I don't understand it. I think, honestly, the pressure is on Nick Halen on this one. And here's why. With all of the claim he's been doing about, you know, he should be the sole wrestler of the year, he's got to not just win this match, but he's got to win this tournament. I think the pressure's on him, because if you don't win this tournament, how do you make claim that you should be the sole wrestler of the year? And so with that said, that could actually give an advantage to Shoot Taylor, who again is here to prove himself. I still think he is one of the hottest things going, and is going to be a major star in this business. This is his opportunity. What happens if Shoot Taylor gets a win over the man who says he should be the lone wrestler of the year? So I think a lot of pressure is on Nick Halen, which could make things easy for Shoot Taylor to just stay focused and wrestle his match. And we could have a big upset happen in this tournament.
Right.
Yeah. Could be the night of upsets. Who knows?
Could be.
We say it every month. You never know what's going to happen at SHW. You never know what's going to happen. You also never know who might show up. So, but yes, let's move on down this card. We were talking about AC Mack. Let's get to that match. AC Mack, and we also talked about Chip Day earlier. AC Mack and Chip Day one-on-one. Talk about a show stealer, potential show stealer on a card full of potential show stealers. AC Mack, co-winner of the Wrestler of the Year, as I mentioned, taking on Chip Day, former technical, multi-time technical Wrestler of the Year. And two guys that are just, I would consider them both top dogs on the roster of SHW. And two guys that are definitely worthy of a championship, whether it's the main title, whether it's this legacy title. But this one's going to be good. This one's going to be really, really good.
I swear, if we did not have a title match between Gunner and Judas, this would be main event. Period.
Yeah.
This would be main event. I love both these guys. I'm a huge fan of both of these guys. And this is going to be a match that I'm going to have to ask Zach to just shh for a bit, so I can just focus on everything going on in that ring for this particular match, especially. I don't want to miss a thing on this one. My heart's beating fast. I'm excited about this one for sure.
You're talking about Bad Boy Chip. I understand.
I know.
But
I mean, the loud mouth AC and Bad Boy Chip Day. I mean, come on.
She got the vapors, GP. She got the vapors. Woo!
It's hot. It's gonna be a hot match. It's gonna be so good.
I told her to turn her fan off because it was making too much noise. Do you need to turn it back on?
Now she needs it on.
Got me all crazy.
Hilarious.
I'm flush.
Hilarious. Well, here's my thought. Not only is this main event caliber, this is a match that should be in the finals. Like, this should be the finals of the championship. Instead, it is the qualifying round, which is phenomenal to me. So, I mentioned the idea of a pick'em before. Talk about two guys who are evenly matched. You've got Chip Day, who again has just kind of hit that top tier, not just kind of, he's been in the top tier, and I think he's at that space where we're looking at him and we're like, this guy is championship material. He's got the pedigree. He's got all of the things that could make an amazing SHW champion. Then you have, of course, AC Mack, a former SHW champion, just off the heels of an amazing IWTV World Championship run, a historic run on all accounts. Someone who is looking to also solidify himself as the solo wrestler of the year, who quite frankly wants gold again. So it's a guy who wants gold again versus a guy who's never tasted solo gold in SHW. He's a former tag team champion, of course, that being Chip Day. This is a pick'em. I can't wait to see this match. I'm telling you, ooh-wee. Call the cops because somebody's stealing the show.
And if that one doesn't do it, this next one might. This triple threat match, okay? We've got the red hot Bad News and Tattoos, Carly Bravo, and I'm talking red hot, coming off a big win last month against the very talented Jaden Newman.
Yes.
And then we've got the returning Zicky Dice, the outlandish one, returns. And then another return, Rob Killjoy, who you might remember from the Ugly Ducklings. Okay, now Killjoy, gosh, this is another somebody's going to have to jump in and correct me here on the chat. But I can't remember when it was. I know he had a solo match a little while back.
A couple months ago, yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, the Ducklings have been here back in the early... Actually, we just celebrated the 4-year anniversary of SHW1000 on May 3rd, and I know the Ducklings were at that show, as a matter of fact, as a group. So that was pretty wild. But anyways, yeah. That was a wild night. But anyways, back to this triple threat match. This one's going to be wild. I can guarantee you that. And I saw, was it January when Zicky and Carly went 1-on-1 at Impact? I think it was in January.
Yes, it was.
And I saw when this graphic was posted about this particular match, Carly shared it. Maybe this was on Twitter. I can't remember. And he said something about, how come everybody's always trying to make me fight my best friend? Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Carly Bravo and Zicky Dice are thick as thieves. They also do a show together. They have their own little Bad Taste show. Yeah, I was going to say, was it a podcast? It's not really a podcast, but it's a show on, is it Twitch, YouTube?
It is Twitch.
All of the above, whatever.
All of the above.
So yeah, check that out if you, but beware. I'll put a disclaimer out there. Just not safe for work. But anyways, they are thick as thieves. And so what's going to be interesting here is to see if they team up and take out Killjoy, just remove him from the equation and then shake hands and say, may the best man win. And then we get that one-on-one match, kind of like we saw, which they killed it. It was a classic at Impact when they had that match. And that was like, the thing is, a lot of the Impact fans may not have totally known who Carly was. They knew who Zicky was because he's been on that Impact roster for a little while. But Carly, really stood out and put on a great match at that show. So I don't really know what to think of this here. And that's not to take anything away from Rob Killjoy. I'm just saying Killjoy's going to have his hands full if those two decide to team up, take him out of the equation, and then just kind of make it a de facto one-on-one match at that point. So I don't know. What do we think?
Well, I agree. Rob he's gonna have his hands full, but I've seen the ugly duck in hot water before, and he is nothing to be playing with. He's got a temper on him. Oh my God. Zicky and Carly, I think at the end of the day, they might be best friends, but they know this is business.
Yeah.
It's business. And they're in this tournament to win this legacy title. Maybe best man win, who knows? But I don't think the friendship is going to get in between this whole thing.
And we heard what Carly had to say about the legacy title. GB, you probably want to touch on that, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you have that one. But yeah, this is going to be one for the books for real.
Yeah, speaking of the legacy title, Carly was the first one to mention it by name at SHW 49. Right. And so, many would think to some degree he'd be the odds-on favorite. But the challenge again, obviously, this entire tournament is stacked with some amazing names, as we have ironed out and we've talked about. I think it's interesting, and I don't know if this was done intentionally, but he being Carly was the only one who mentioned this title by name, and somehow he ends up in arguably the most difficult circumstances in this matchup. Meaning he's the only one in the qualifying round to have a triple threat match, as opposed to everyone else having a one-on-one match. So that significantly shifts the odds against Carly, because now any of the other two men could potentially win, since this is a one fall kind of match. So it's going to lend itself to a different skill set for Carly, who has won a championship goal in SHW. Of course, Zicky Dice, a former SHW tag team champion, came in as a star. We've seen his work in Impact, of course, and, a former television champion who would love to wear gold. He's an aficionado. He is certainly a history buff of this business, understands the value of Jake the Snake. Rob Killjoy, another one who wants to make his legacy imprint here in SHW. So all three of them have a really, really strong motivation for getting this done. Of course, Carly is everywhere. Impact, AEW, Ring of Honor, you name it, he's there. But this is his home, and he wants to be a champion. So this is going to be a crazy, crazy match. And, the winner of this, if they, not that you can afford to look past this, but the winner of this will take on the winner of Zach Mosley and the Kenway, which is going to be another tough one. And then on the other side, which I meant to mention, the winner of AC Mack and Chip Day battles the winner of Nick Halen and Shoot Taylor, which means conceivably you could see that match we've been wanting to see for Wrestler of the Year, or some other combination of things, So all in all, this tournament is going to be bananas. And all of these first round matches are happening next Friday.
Oh, and on top of that, as if it couldn't get any bigger, this huge milestone show, our 50th show, we've got two big title matches. The tag team titles will be on the line. It's Happy Madness. Sunny Days, Sal Renaro will be defending against the newly formed team, who are now 1-0 as of last month, of Owen Knight and Nagicism. Two guys that went to battle in that best of 7, best of the Southeast series, and then became a tag team last month, defeating the Washington Bullets, and all of a sudden getting a tag team title shot. So this is going to be a really good match. And I just think that Happy Madness is still lucky to be where they're at, because they got by the skin of their teeth last month when they were taking on the Hierarchy. And honestly, we talked about Carly Bravo earlier. Had it not been for Bravo getting involved and not only taking out, who did he hit? Sunny Days and Joe Black with that chair.
Right.
We thought maybe he was going to come and pick a side. Maybe was he still with Dishonor, or was he going to join the Hierarchy? Well, he chose to stand on his own, took out both guys. But there were opportunities, we mentioned it already, where the Hierarchy looked like they had that match won, and it just slipped through their fingers. And as much as it pains me to say it, luckily for Happy Madness, they were able to retain their titles. And so they get by one more month. Here we go again. It's still the tag team champions. But can they get past this new team of the working team captain and Nagicism? I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough battle. What do we think?
How long have they been champions?
GB?
238 days as of today.
How many times have they defended?
Well, the last match would have been 3 successful title defenses.
Wow. So there you go. I mean, they've been champions because they're not fighting for their titles. They're not trying to keep them. They're just holding them hostage. Am I right?
Well, now remember, a lot of that had to do with Brooklyn being in charge of the booking. Now
holding
that,
them hostage.
Right, exactly. Now that Jake the Snake's here, and I wondered if Jake would have had he seen what happened last month, and we talked about it, maybe it was off air, maybe it was on one of the previous episodes. Would Jake see that and go, you know what? Hierarchy deserves another match. They deserve a rematch. And maybe that's still in the back of his mind, but there's all these other things that have to happen first. So maybe the Hierarchy still has a date with a title match down the road. Who knows? I don't know.
And maybe Jake is just standing by his word when he was first announced that he doesn't owe anybody anything. He doesn't owe anybody a rematch. So maybe he's just Jake. He does have the biggest heel moment in my history of wrestling. Okay, so I mean, I don't put anything past him to be just Jake the Snake. Okay, he's a snake. So when it comes to Naj and Owen,
GB, real quick. Sorry, Diana, but GB, we know how Diana is with the bad boys.
I know.
No, I'm gonna tell you again. Jake is not a bad boy. He's a villain.
He's a bad man. He's a bad man.
He's a villain. So no, it's not the same as the bad boy Chip Day. So no,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
But with Owen and Naja, I think if they are careful and work together and are strategic and they try their best to keep Happy Madness from winning the dirty way they did against the hierarchy, I think that they could definitely come away with these titles. And yay, new tag champs! And long time coming, we need it. I think it's due. There's my pick. So I'm gonna go with Owen and Naj for this, and just it all works out. That's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
You got the dirts, the dirty dirts.
So there's a couple of things here. As I mentioned, today is day number 238 of their championship reign. Next week will be day 245. And here's a scary moment. If they walk away from this match still as champions, they will actually tie for the most successful title defenses of any tag team who've held the tag team titles. You know, we came into last month pretty much saying that the champions were the underdog. I think we were all convinced that the hierarchy was coming out of here as the new tag team champions. I don't think we estimated the depths to which Happy Madness would sink to retain their championships. And we learned they were willing to do almost anything. So now I'm wondering, what will it take to defeat them? I don't know. And considering how Owen and Najicism were trying to find their way in their last match, I mean, think about it. They didn't even know the tag team rules. You know, the confusion that Owen and Naja had. I tagged him. No, I didn't tag him. No, I didn't. No, they won't have that kind of time to have that level of confusion against a team like Happy Madness, who understands that their backs are against the wall and that they're beating up against history right now. I say this carefully, but I don't know, given the circumstances that Happy Madness won the titles, I don't know if we've ever really viewed them in our mind as legit tag team champions. You know, not the same way we view Technical Excellence or the way we viewed All-Star Special. So I think I'm having to start to put respect on their names, particularly if they find a way to get past this tag team. I think Owen and Naja are really going to have to get their stuff together and make sure that they're focused, because if not, Happy Madness will retain again.
Whew. And then who's next? You know, like you said, who can take these titles from these guys? So we'll see. But Owen and Naja, they've had a month to realize that they were getting this opportunity.
Yes.
The month before, they were kind of last minute. They found out a week or two ahead of time, and they were both kind of reluctant to be partners. I think once they got that win under their belt, they kind of felt like, okay, we're actually a pretty good team, you know? So hopefully they've taken this last month to come up with a good game plan, to work on some stuff together, train together maybe, and we'll see what happens. So good luck to them. But that also brings us to our big main event, the SHW championship match, which will see Gunnar Miller defending his title against the Priest of Punishment, Michael Judas. Wow. I'm telling you, the ending of the last show, and if you haven't seen it, like we said, check it out on IWTV. The visual where Judas had that spike in his hand, the same spike that he used to take out the Eye of Cyrus the Destroyer, to take out the Chief Austin Towers. He was going to use it against Gunnar Miller. And then you see Corey come in, defending Gunnar, pleading with Judas not to do it. And then, to all of our bewilderment, Judas took the spike to the head of Corey and took him out. So we're all just as baffled as everybody else after what we witnessed, but we also saw Judas pick up that title belt, and he sure was eyeing it. And well, as it turned out, Gunnar Miller wanted some revenge, wanted a piece of Judas, and he told Jake the Snake that, and he told Jake, I'll even put my title on the line. Just let me get my hands on Judas. Now, we've all kind of discussed this a couple of months ago, or a couple of weeks ago, rather, when this match was announced. How smart of that was it for Gunnar to do that? Because, you know, are you thinking too much with your emotions here? You're putting your title on the line just to get a little revenge, just to get your hands on Judas. Any other guy, maybe other than Cyrus, but it's Judas we're talking about. Judas is a monster. You're putting your title on the line here? I give all the credit in the world to Gunnar. Gunnar's been a great champion. Gunner's been a fighting champion. But I just don't know how wise this was. I don't know. How are we feeling?
I've said that many times, how I'm feeling about this one. I don't know what Gunner's thinking. I don't know how he's coming to terms with actually wanting to do this. He's confident. Got to give him that. He's confident, and he does. He's been a great champion for Southern Honor. I'm still like, I'm just on an edge where I want to be like invested in how this could turn out for Gunnar, but I'm so on the back end. Corey's behind this. I feel it in my bones that Corey is behind this, and I just don't trust him to. I don't care that he took the spot to the head. Did he? I don't care. Right now, I feel like there's something underhanded going on, and I do feel Corey and Judas are working together to screw over Gunnar. I'm just gonna say it. If he wins, if he retains, it'd be a miracle of God. I just really feel like there's something going on. Convince me otherwise.
Are you envisioning Judas winning and then fingered poke of doom situation where Corey boop to Judas and then gets to carry the title again?
Possibly, but I mean,
I wouldn't put it past Corey, because Corey put us through so much hell a couple of years ago when he was still here and he was trying to kill the company from within. They called their group Lethal Poison, for crying out loud. And still, you're right. I mean, you make a great point. Like, we've been seeing this other side of Corey, so we think, where he's come around and he's showing us his compassionate side. Right.
He fooled us before. He fooled Gunnar before. I mean, and then finally Gunnar wised up and figured it out. But
I don't know. I just don't know. There's no telling. GB?
Yeah, my brain is thinking a few things, and outside of that, the one thing we've not given credit for is actually the mind games of Judas.
Yes.
We've talked a lot about, Corey and Corey being behind it. But Judas may be the one pulling all the strings here. I mean, think about this. Judas knew what it would take to get a title shot. And he could have had the moment where he said, okay, Corey, if you don't want to do it, my time is now, so you get Corey out of the way. To which, here's the other thing. Let's think about this. Corey gave, a speech at the top of SHW49 where he attempted to explain, his actions, why he came back and the like, to which I say that made things clear as mud. Because it only caused me to ask more questions and wonder, what are we doing here? I'm willing to do whatever it takes to become the SHW champion. I can do anything, but I won't do that. Won't do that. Okay. And so let's just think logically for a second. I know it's wrestling logic, but think about this.
You beat me to it. I'm glad you said it, because I was
no. The man, being Corey, retired and chose to spend this time as a father. He's only been gone for a year and a half, not even a full 2 years. My son's going to be 4 in a couple of weeks, okay? the time that you get to spend with them is extremely valuable. And if you left the business to be there for a year and change, now they're getting to the toddler phase where they're starting to walk and they're starting to talk and they're starting to get potty trained and do all of these things that as a father, you want to be present for. Mm-hmm. Can you carry the responsibilities of a company on your back and be a champion and still have that same responsibility, the same responsibility that caused you to leave the business in the first place? To which I say, maybe we've been looking at the wrong person. We've been looking at Corey, but Corey may have come back to say, Judas, it's your time. I don't have the ability to be champion and carry the responsibilities of SHW and still take care of my beautiful baby girl. So I'll sacrifice myself so that you can become champion. To your point, Diana, I don't think Gunner led with his head. I think he led with his heart and his emotions. And I hope he didn't fall into a trap that may have jointly been laid by Corey and Judas.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Next Friday, SHW50. And hey, on top of all that, we've also got a tag team, not in action, but just making an appearance. The first appearance together in 25 years. Buff Bagwell, Scotty Riggs, the American Males. If you remember from WCW back in the 90s, this was prior to Buff the Stuff in NWO. This was American Male, Scotty Riggs. Now, I remember Scotty Riggs. Yeah, Scotty Riggs would go on and be in Raven's Flock as well. But yeah, this is prior to all that. And it was the American Males, and they had the catchy theme song. Everybody remembers that theme song. But anyways, they will be making an appearance, their first time together. I think they were promoted to make an appearance, might have been last year at one of the conventions, and then something happened. It didn't happen. Now this will be the official first time, 25 years as a tag team, the American Male. So come early, get your pictures made, meet Buff and Scotty, and it'll be a great time. It's a big milestone event, SHW50. You're not going to want to miss it. Our 50th show.
Wow.
We're halfway to 100.
We are.
So it's going to be awesome. And again, you never know who's going to show up. You never know what might happen. All these tournament matches, all these title matches. It's just going to be a great night. Jake the Snake is killing it once again. He killed it in SHW49 with a great card. He's built a great card for SHW50. We can't wait to see you guys there next Friday at the Action Building, 261 Marietta Road, Canton, Georgia. We will be doing this show live as the pre-show from 7 to 7:30. So if you can't make it, you can join us there. Or even if you are there, a lot of people sit in the crowd or they sit in line out front and they watch us on their phones. So you can do that as well. Join in the chat. Let us know what you're thinking. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. Anything else for the fans before we let them go?
We'll see you guys Friday.
You guys rock. Thank you for your continued support. Let's do it again and pack the place out next Friday.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of packing that place out, like I said, this was just earlier this week, 4 years ago, where we had the SHW1000. Who's to say we can't do that again? Why not?
Who's to say someone you just wouldn't imagine might show up?
You never know. You just never know. You got to be there to find out. So hey, we will
wait and hear about it. You're gonna regret it. Just come and witness it.
There's nothing like seeing it live. I'm telling you, I promise you. So, and if you have any friends that have never seen it live, bring them out. This would be a great first show to come to. So I'm telling you, you're not gonna want to miss it. But hey, until we see you guys next week, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.
Bam, nailed it. We're getting good at that, guys.
Yeah,
how about it?